So the first thing I want to do is I want to screen. I want to just go over the informed consent form very quickly. It just talks about the study.
Mhm.
Whoops. Yeah, okay. Just move it so I can see it fully. So I'm doing the study. There's a researcher at my university who's also helping me.
Mhm.
So basically, I'm interviewing people about their teacher identity, the teaching identity of native and non-native English speaking teachers. So I'm going to be asking you about how you feel about your job and how you view your role as a teacher. This is just saying I'm going to ask you questions about yourself and your career as a teacher. The interviews will be recorded. The questions are not about sensitive topics, but as they are personal questions, it is possible that some sensitive material might come up during the interview. After all three interviews are completed, you will be asked if you be agreed to be contacted in the future. If you say yes, the researcher might contact you in the future if she has questions about your interview. So that's the basics of it. And I will be keeping everything confidential, so everything's kept just on my computer, password protected. No one can see anything. And also your rights. You can refuse to take part in the study at any time. Your decision will not result in any loss of benefits to you, which you are otherwise entitled. You have the right to skip any questions or research activity, as well as to withdraw completely from participation at any time. So here are some people you can contact if you have any concerns. And you can contact me at any time. And then here, down here, uh, if you agree to everything, if everything's okay, you can sign it. You can just type it if you need to or however. But I will send that to you.
Right. Okay.
All right. Any questions about anything?
Well, no. I mean, everything is clear, so I understand. I consent to be interviewed.
Okay, great. Um, Sorry. Oh, here we go. Stop share. All right, great. So let's get started. So tell me, where did you grow up?
Well, I grew up in Pakistan. That's my country of origin, and I've been working internationally. At the moment, of course, I'm in Saudi Arabia, and
Mhm.
I've been working in different contexts. Like at the moment, I'm working at tertiary level college. We prepare students for their majors. Obviously, we teach them English, but I've also been working in different contexts. Like my last assignment or my last work experience was with the university, where I worked for 10 years until my contract expired because of the government laws, and it could not be renewed. It was a it was a public sector university
Mhm.
where you cannot continue beyond 10 years if you're an expat.
Mm.
That's not.
Okay, so was that university in Saudi as well?
Yes, it is Taif University.
Ah, okay. I'm going to
Yeah.
Taif next
All
weekend.
right. Okay. Good.
For,
Okay. Cool. Cool.
all
And
right. Mhm.
are you going to be visiting the university, or is it for fun, for pleasure? I mean,
For pleasure to see the Rose
oh,
Festival.
oh, great! I'm also going to be there with my family. So
Oh,
yeah, I think the Rose Festival is going to kick off very soon. Yeah, I need to check that.
yeah. I'm excited to do a little bit of traveling. It's been so
Uh,
long.
Perfect, perfect. You're going to have
Uh,
a good time there.
mm. So tell me about where you grew up in Pakistan. Was it a rural area, an urban area?
It was a rural area,
Hmm.
but yeah, but then for my school and college studies, I left my village and went to a city where I got admitted to a college, so where I went to college and graduated.
Hmm. Great.
Yeah.
And tell me about your family history. Were they always living in Pakistan?
Yes, we have always been in Pakistan. In fact, I'm the only one in the family who has traveled abroad.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Um, what languages were spoken in your house when you were growing up?
My eldest Well, my mother tongue is Pashto, and we spoke Pashto only throughout my primary education.
Hmm.
The only exposure I had to another language was at school. It was Urdu and a little bit of English also. But English happened after I passed my grade five. In fact, I started studying English in grade five.
Okay. That leads perfectly into my next question, which is how did you develop your English ability? Like how did you
Well, that's the
start?
question I often get asked.
Hmm.
Uh, I often get asked this question. But I loved learning languages, and I started uh, learning it through reading it and through joining the letters and like identifying the letters individually and then asking my teacher what the sounds were and how to read them. So it was basically my own initiative, and that actually encouraged my teachers to take more interest in my language abilities. They started taking me seriously, and I got more attention. And everywhere I went, I was considered to be a good language learner.
Hmm. So you said you were motivated by reading. You wanted to read English.
Yes,
Was there
yes,
anything specifically that you wanted to read in English that you were excited to read in English?
yes. There used to be an English news bulletin, which I did not understand, and I remember asking my teacher about the letters NEWS. And the teacher said it's news and it means this, and she explained it to me in our mother tongue. So that was my first exposure to the language and my first language lesson from my teacher.
Mm-hmm. So when do you think your English, you were saying it was your own initiative. So when would you say your English ability like really took off? When do you say, was it really early on that your English became really strong? Or was there just from the self-motivation, or was there a section where it got?
Well, I can't pinpoint one stage, one specific
Mm-hmm.
factor that has contributed to
Mm-hmm.
why my language ability took off, but it was at my college where we had a great teacher and he inspired us. He was himself a great fluent speaker of English. But earlier on at my school, we had our headmaster, and I remember he used to teach us very confidently and very devotedly. So he was a great inspiration for me. In fact, all the tenses and all the verbs and different parts of speech, etc. I still remember even now thanks to him. It was mostly through grammar translation method,
Mm-hmm.
and we used to translate, and we used to learn the word lists. And even now, surprisingly, when you go to conferences and you deliver presentations yourself, if you're a teacher trainer yourself like I am now,
Mm-hmm.
we emphasize the importance of word lists,
Mm-hmm.
memorization, and we want to wean away the teachers from the fashion methodology and want them to be realistic and to like see what works for the students and come out of the box of the fashion. I mean, not to go after fashion. In fact, look at the ground realities and see what works for them. So I remember those word lists and the grammar translation exercises and the hard work that we put in to our language learning. So yeah, our headmaster was a great inspiration. Then at college we had a great teacher. She had been to different countries, and though she was also a non-native speaker of English, but had terrific fluency. So those were the two inspirations behind why I think my English got better to the extent that it is now. Yeah.
So you said that your college teacher was an inspiration. Can you think of a
Yeah.
specific story about your college, about your professor that you can tell me?
Yeah, of course, many. In fact, one was that she knew all the poems by heart. She never read anything mm, from the book, or she never read any text from the book. She had been teaching the same text for a long time, so she had full mastery of the content. She knew what was going to work for us and what was not going to work for us. So she knew the geography of the whole course very well, to the extent that we would sometimes lose track of what we were reading, but she would never lose track of what she was reading to us. And I mean, I really still envy the command, the mastery of the course content that she had. She had been teaching it, and not only the familiarity with the content, but also she had been exploring other things. Like she was always after her professional development, attending conferences, and was a keynote speaker at the British Council event. So that she was a great inspiration for us.
Wow. That is amazing. Just I also envy that. So what are your strengths in English?
My strength, the same. I'm at IELTS um, 9 band in speaking now. That's the report, that's the latest report I've got. I 9 band score in speaking. So speaking is my strength, as they say in both TOEFL and IELTS. I've been taking the tests periodically just to be more empathetic towards the students I train and to understand their issues and put myself in their shoes. So yeah, speaking is my strength as an English language learner.
Mhm. Great. And do you have any weaknesses in English? Any things that are difficult for you?
Yeah, of course, many as a non-native speaker of English. My biggest struggle is uh, subordinating the content to my speaking. Sometimes I speak and then later on I think and evaluate what I should be speaking. So there's a kind of a disconnect between my thinking and my speaking. So there's a kind of a bridge.
Mm,
That's my struggle. I need to plan a lot before I speak. So still I need to improve my coherence whenever I start speaking.
mm,
In terms of speaking, yeah, and also in terms of reading, of course, I'm struggling, still struggling. My IELTS score is not at 9 when it comes to reading, so I'm trying to improve it and bring it to a 9 if possible.
mm,
Yeah, writing is also an issue. It's still at 8 and IELTS, so yeah, a couple of things that I need to still work on.
mm. But still definitely impressive.
Yeah, it
IELTS
is.
is.
As a teacher, you need to be a model to your students.
Mm,
So if you say I'm an art teacher, for example, okay, what is your own story?
yeah.
And have your own strategies worked for you, first of all? Okay, so I'm still after improvement always. So.
Mm, mm. Um, what do you find specific? Is there anything specifically difficult you find have trouble with in reading? And you said reading is difficult, but like, what kind of things are difficult with reading?
Yeah,
Because we know
no,
reading is a large topic.
yeah, okay, of course. When it's reading, well, we've grown up in a culture where we're told the meanings of specific words and we were not taught the reading strategies. So
Mm,
applying the right strategy for a specific reading task is an issue. And I still need to know, for example, whether to zoom in on a particular bit of the text for a particular question or to read the whole text, skim
mhm,
it, for example, or read it fast or slowly. So differentiating between the different strategies required for particular reading tasks, that's what I think I still need to work on.
mm,
My main challenge is, in fact, the biggest issue I'm facing now is that there are certain questions like they require skimming, and we've been trained to focus on individual words or individual bits of the text. So that's where I get lost. I mean, I sometimes fail to get the whole idea of a text, and I
mm,
focus on the specific bits. And obviously, to understand a text globally, you can't expect the global understanding of a text by narrowing in on just particular bits. So I need to understand the global understanding of text, like skimming and like summary questions and stuff like that. So that's where I still need to work on, I think.
okay, thank you. Very thorough answer. I like this. I'm getting lots of information. All right. So moving a little bit back into the past, what was your relationship with school as a child?
My relationship, well, I was a student, obviously, and I don't know how to define it further.
Well,
So,
like what kind of student were you? Is maybe a better question.
yeah, I was a leading student. I mean, I was one of the top students always. That's what my teachers told, and that's what they still tell me whenever I go back and meet them. So I was a very shining student, very intelligent. Always, I was very popular with my teachers and my class. They used to call me a monitor. Actually, we had different roles. I
Mm.
used to be the monitor and a topper. I don't know if it's a standard term to say I was a topper, like always stood first in the class and
Yeah, I think in Japan they have something similar. So I think I
topper.
know. Yeah,
And
they have the same kind of the student leader.
I see. So a monitor to take care of the students in the absence of the teacher,
Mm,
and yeah, a topper. That's somebody who like always excels and always gets a high grade and
mm.
out. Somebody who does everybody outdoes everybody else, that scores more than others. So I
So
used to
you
stand
were
first.
so you were the monitor and the topper?
Yes, both.
Yes. How did you feel about your role as monitor and topper?
Well, I always wanted to get rid of that role. I never enjoyed it because that meant that I had to focus on what the students were doing rather than what I should be doing and learning and improving myself. But because of I mean, it was a kind of a misreading actually on the part of the teachers. They thought that since I was good at my studies, I was equally good at controlling and managing the other students. So they equated my intellectual ability with my managerial
Mm,
skills, which is not, I think, a good thing to do.
I understand that. I can understand. I think maybe that's happened to me too.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I think. I mean, I caution I'm also a teacher trainer,
Hmm.
so I deal with teachers. So I caution my trainee teachers all the time not to equate the different intelligences or abilities of
Hmm.
students. Somebody might be good at controlling others, or she might be a disaster at, say, speaking or reading. I mean, we should be approaching the students very sensitively and in
Hmm.
a very differentiated manner. We should not be misled by the appearances. So yeah,
Hmm. All right. Great. Who is, well, we talked about your favorite teacher. We talked about your favorite teachers already. Is there another teacher that comes to mind if I ask you about your favorite teachers as a child?
yeah. Of course, there was another. He would give us extra lessons after the usual, I mean, 6 hour period, 6 hour slots, I think. Yeah, so he would keep us after school, and he was a very devoted person. I've still got a lot of his voice. Not just so that really was an inspiration for me. Even now, whenever I get the opportunity, I work extra with the students. I hold them, keep them after their classes, and also with the teachers, for example. If there's a workshop or a training session, I deliver it, and if somebody needs more help, so I don't hesitate. Or in fact, I invite people to stay after the session or after a lesson. I think that teacher was a big inspiration. Uh, yeah.
Mm. Okay. Um, so we talked a little bit. Let me think. What is your experience with learning languages? So you talked a bit about how you learn English, and you said you love learning languages. What are some other languages you've learned?
Yes, I speak 5 languages:
Mhm.
Arabic, English, Urdu. Urdu is my second language back home, and Pashto is my mother tongue, and also Farsi. I speak 5 languages. I don't call myself a polyglot, but I'm a borderline polyglot. So, yeah, I mean, if you really want to learn a language, you really need to have a clear focus. For example, you should know what's working for you and what's not. And people learn languages in different ways. Not all people learn languages in the same manner. Or I mean, one methodology, for example, may not be working. It may work in one context, but may be a complete disaster in another context. What has worked for me is, for example, memorizing word lists, and I still do that. Or not hesitating to use the first language of. I just don't speak a language for the sake of speaking it. So that has been working for me. And I have learned over the years that one should be realistic. One should know, for example, lots of times we learn a language and we think that we should be able to learn it overnight or in a very short period of time. It can't happen overnight. It's a gradual process. Your language evolves. It takes some time. So that's what has worked for me is being realistic. It can't happen overnight. It takes hard work and it takes patience. it takes some time.
Mhm.
It can't happen overnight. So that's been working. I know what I should be learning. I slot in things and I build up my language learning in chunks or in units.
Mhm.
So that's been working for me.
Great. Um, you said you are a great language learner. What do you love about learning languages? Why have you learned
Hmm.
5 different
Well,
languages?
every language is a passport for me into another culture, another language community. So that motivates me to feel the life that people are having and to interact with them and to maybe travel there. So it's a passport for me. I love interacting. I'm a very sociable person. I love interacting, and I don't want any kind of barriers, while communicating with others. So that's why I try to build up my own language repertoire and see how it works. Yeah.
Great. Um, tell me how you became an English teacher.
Okay. I bumped into the profession and I liked it. Started making money and thought I was good at it. So since then, I've been teaching English for about 22 years now, and I've been teaching only English. That's it. Even at school, I always asked I was not qualified to teach English, but I always requested my headmaster or the principal to assign me English to teach. So I've also
When
been
you were in
learning.
high school?
No, when I started working after my high school.
Ah, okay.
So it was a school, where different subjects are taught. So I requested the headmaster to let me teach only English, and I thought I was good at it. He liked it. I got bonuses every month. I enjoyed it, and since then I've been teaching, and people
so,
think I'm a good teacher.
mm. So was that your first job after high school?
Yes, that was my first job as a high school teacher. Yeah, as a high school after my high school, yeah, that was my first job.
And did you go to university after, or
Yes, of course. I graduated from one of the top universities back home, and then I thought I should learn more about teaching. I did my CELTA.
what degree did you? Sorry, just what degree did you graduate with?
It was an MA in linguistics and
Okay.
ULT.
Okay.
But then I thought that was not enough. So when I came over to Saudi, I did my CELTA and did my Delta and also TKT. They call it TKT from British Council.
Yes, yes, I know that one. I had to take it
Okay.
one time.
Okay. So yeah, I continue my PhD. Like last week, 2 weeks ago, I finished a course in flipped classroom, how to
Mm.
deliver flipped lessons, and it was uh, with Russell. You might have heard his name, Russell somebody.
Yeah, Russell. Yeah, I've heard it, but I can't remember right now. I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Oh, um, yeah. How did you enjoy the flipped classroom lessons?
Well, I think that's what everybody should do. Obviously, in the situation we are in, we can't expect everything to happen, all the learning to happen in the short Zoom sessions, which are often not attended closely by the students. So
Mm,
you can't expect all learning to happen during those, lessons. So it's always good to divide the work into, say, lower order thinking skills work and higher order thinking skills work. The lower order thinking skills work can easily be done before the Zoom sessions. For
mhm,
example, memorizing something, recognizing something, or even applying something different,
mhm,
or understanding stuff. So understanding exercises or memorizing exercises and those could easily be done before the Zoom session or any live session, for example, through Teams or whatever.
yes.
So personally, I think I've been wasting lots of my time and lots of my students' time by teaching them everything in the live session.
Mhm,
So things could be easily done before this session. So I mean, actually, when you assign some pre-session work, like if it's matching work or memorizing work, or students enjoy doing it more because they could do this in their own at their own pace. Some are
mhm,
slow learners, others are fast learners.
mhm,
So what I learned was that I mean, we shouldn't. This should just be a meeting, and that's why it's called a meeting to
mhm,
discuss the prior learning that has been taking place. nice to discuss what people have been doing and to share and things like that. So I take the word literally,
Mm,
and I think we should hold only meetings for what has been happening, what the students have been learning before the live sessions, and
mhm.
so just discuss their outcomes and then share ideas and analyze stuff and evaluate stuff and create stuff together.
Yeah.
The higher order thinking skills work. Yeah.
Yeah. I've been doing a lot of reading flipped classroom.
Yeah.
Um,
My tea is getting cold. Would you like to? Sorry.
sorry. Oh, yeah, I've been doing reading flipped classroom a little bit. It's been working well. All right, so we're getting close to finish with the first interview. So you worked in Pakistan. You did your. So how did you end up in Saudi Arabia? Did you come directly from Pakistan to Saudi Arabia, or did you live other places before that?
No, I came to Saudi from Iran.
Okay, from Iran. So was Iran where you went after Pakistan?
Yes, actually, I worked for a Tehran University there, and also for Pakistan Embassy College there, and I came across Saudi students there, and the ambassador was there. He became my friend, so he put me in touch with somebody here, and that's why I flew from there to Pakistan, and from Pakistan I came here.
Mm. And how did you decide to move to Saudi Arabia?
I went through a process actually. I mean, it was not just the contact. I mean, I went through a lot of screening, a lot of interviews, and a lot of yeah, the process. Which it's really difficult to get into a university here. So there was a quite a stringent or kind of a tough process. I went through different screening things, and I got interviewed, and I got selected. So I came over here.
But why did you want to come to Saudi? Why did you want to leave?
It was a financial decision, first of
Mm-hmm.
all.
Mm-hmm.
There was more money here, and my job wasn't well, a good job in terms of money. Also, because it was a college, and I wanted to experience university life,
Mm-hmm.
and it was more attractive.
Mm-hmm.
And since then, I've also been traveling to other countries, like so I've also worked in Turkey and also in Dubai during the
Oh,
summer. I'm also a freelancer, so go here and there.
in the summers. Okay. Um, sorry, I just had a question. No, I can't remember. All right. Hopefully, I'll remember when I look through this interview.
So, so,
um, so, what surprised you the most about Saudi Arabia when you came to teach students here?
well, I found them very normal students, really. I'm a person who always believes that students are adaptable. They adapt themselves to the way the teacher teaches.
Mm-hmm.
So there wasn't really anything surprising. The only thing surprising was um, the kind of stigma that some people had been attaching to the students. But I don't believe in that. So it was just stereotyping. For example, they don't want to learn, they're not good learners, they're not motivated, and stuff like that. I never had this issue, this kind of thing here. Um, So it was a very normal experience for me. Yeah. The only thing, yeah, there was one thing really. Language was an issue here, especially with the students. So there was a lot of culture of L1 here. Teachers always taught through L1,
Mm-hmm.
which I think was quite realistic, but people overdid it. It was a bit of a surprising thing for me, and also I learned recently that it's good to provide the students L1 support, but the teacher should not be speaking the language himself. Or, I mean, the teacher should be a model, a good model of the language first. That was a bit of a surprising thing for me. And then I took up the issue. I mean, in fact, I brought different things to my dean's notice. And over the next couple of years, then of course things went, things got better. So I really can't pinpoint one thing that really surprised me.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bit of a difficult question, really.
Um, can I ask? So you heard that you heard this stigma about Saudi students that they don't want to work. What were the
Hmm.
kind of places you were hearing these things from?
the colleagues, and of course the Saudi, both Saudi and foreign teachers here, they were all unanimous in saying this. But yeah, I found the students very adaptable, very pliable, quite communicative, and they wanted to learn, and we achieved great results over the next years and the time that I had been spending there. I spent there. So I didn't find anything unusual about the students. In fact, that's everywhere. The students always they change themselves to the way the teacher expects them to change.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very interesting. All right, this is the end of interview number 1. So I was wondering if we could schedule a time for a second interview, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, of course it is.
So like I said, next weekend I will be in Taif. I don't know if you have a good time during the week or this week or next week. If there's
Okay. Yeah, we'll be in touch through WhatsApp. Please
okay.
let me know when you would like me to be available, and I'll try my best to make myself available.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you so much. This has been really great. I will send you the form on WhatsApp, and if you can send me a signature, that would be great.
How would you like me to sign it? Attach
Um,
an I mean, I know how to attach my sign to a PDF. If it's a PDF document, that would be easy for me to sign.
okay, I will send it as a PDF then.
Okay, sure, I'll do it for you.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. This has been really great.
All right, thank you. It was really fun. Thank you for your time and for interviewing me. And hope all the best.
Yeah.
Wish you all the best
All
in the
right.
coming stages of your research.
Oh, thank you so much, and talk to you soon.
So, thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.